Should have did this before I started it. How's that? That looks better. Okay. Fucking hell, guys. After quite the long wait, as Oda was recovering from surgery for his eyes, I don't know. Did they say what he had to get done exactly? We have got a new chapter of One Piece today, and I am gonna do a review of it because that's what I want to do. Uh, so when we left off after this little break that we had because of oh, I should fix these tabs. I know. Can I fix the tags here? Probably not now. To do that later. I'm gonna keep going now. When we last left off, the last two chapters we got of One Piece focused on going back to Reverie, and because or I should say, it started at the end of a chapter. I think even before that, the what was it? I know it was the last two. We had Sabo. Probably must see 1085. It must have been 1084 probably. Sabo had returned back to Kabeyuki Island, the one where Ivankov is in charge, and he's having a meet. He had convened a meeting with Dragon and Ivankov, and told him what he saw at Reverie. So the last two chapters jumped into a flashback from his point of view primarily, and we found out about a meeting between Cobra Nefertari and the Gorosei, and how he met and saw the truth about the empty throne. And Sabo was there and saved him, well, kind of saved him, and and we had two chapters of that, and now we're jumping away from that and going back to in this chapter we're going back to the Honeycomb Island, Foled. I like that name. We're back to that island here, which we left off on. I think that was 1080. Let me look here. That was 1081, 1080 and 1081, right at where Oda started doing this little intermission away from the Straw Hats. We saw Garp and excuse me. Garp was leading a group of Marines, mostly sword members, who are also like Tashigi's there, I think. But oddly enough, I don't think Smoker's there, but Tashigi's there. Suru's granddaughter, which we just met in that chapter. Hamepo, and there's a couple other young ladies that are new, and they're like ones who look up to not Sabo, excuse me, Kobe. And I think one of them, it's kind of hinted at the way that one talks. She really looks like she's infatuated with Kobe, which is very sweet because she looks like the perfect kind of lady for him to be with, because she's just very looks like very caring, and he's like that too. So just but also that's that girl that people are speculating it might be Akainu's daughter, which would be hilarious. So a little recap of those two chapters quickly. Kobe was kidnapped after he saved Boa. Well, Rayleigh helped out too. He was taken there. Blackbeard wants to use him as leverage to get Full Light into make it into an official kingdom. And then he left there to go track down Law. By the way, how did he know where Law was going to be? How is he tracking Law? Now I just realized that because I made a video a while back talking about how the pirates I was speculating how the I was trying to speculate how the Marines keep tabs on people like Luffy and the other Yonko, because like they knew that, like, for example, that Shanks and Whitebeard were about to meet up 2 years ago. So now the same thing applies here. What is Blackbeard doing to keep tabs on people like Law, because we saw in this flashback where Blackbeard talked about his plan among himself and the other uh, his other captains, because he calls himself Commodore, about his plan, and then he left to go after Law. We saw that was happening presently during Egghead, and now Garp and the other Marines have shown up while uh, Blackbeard is still away, and most of the other captains are still with him there to guard the place. And uh, Kobe though had with the help of Perona got herself there somehow. I wonder if that was another question we never got answered yet. Did Perona get there herself, or did like Mihawk drop her off before going over and hanging out with Crocodile and Buggy? So Perona there helped Kobe escape, and then he in turn uh, helped a bunch of other prisoners they have there escape. Actually, did we know why the other prisoners were there? Were they people being used as slaves? Or Blackbeard was going to sell them as slaves? Was he like taking up business the way that Doflamingo was doing? So, anyways, Kobe was already in the works of trying to escape the island when Garp and everyone showed up and uh, started raising hell on the pirates there. And many of the captains are still there, obviously, but this is Garp, and it looks like from what I've seen this chapter, Garp it is a bit more than some of them can handle. uh, let's see. Let me finish that bit. Where was that? Yeah, 1081. Here, he punches them out. Then yeah, the chapter last ended off in 1081 where we saw Garp last with Well, actually, that's also the chapter that ended where we saw that Law had lost to Blackbeard. But we see there too that Kuzan shows up. Kuzan shows up to take on Garp first and keep Kobe from escaping. And that's where the fight was going from there. Um, so wait, what other captains were there? I want to recap quickly. There was still. Oh, I gotta get the Blackbeard captains out because I always forget their names. Blackbeard. I have a little tab I keep. I keep this tab around for this. I actually wanted to do a video soon about him and what the matchups could be between him and Shanks' crew. What the heck is this? Get out of here. What's going on here? So the ones that are still on the island there was a Pizarro, excuse me, Pizarro, Shiru, San Juan, and Vasco, and Kuzan. I don't know if Katerina was there. Where she is? They showed her, but Lafitte, we don't know where Lafitte is, do we? We know that Van Auger and Jesus Burgess are and Doc Q. Those three are definitely with Blackbeard when they defeated Law. But yeah. So how many captains is that there? So Kuzan, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At least 5 of Blackbeard's right hand men. Yeah, I don't know what Katerina or Lafitte are there to stop Garp. So let's get into the chapter. Let's see, where did I pull it up here again? Just a second. I had it here. Got my little tablet down here. Nope, that's not the right one. Where is it? Here's OBS scans. So come on. Now what's going on? Of course, I should have had this pulled up sooner. Get loading. There it is. And actually, we get a little cover art here too of one of these reader requests again and this time we get one of Ace, um, where he's hanging out on an island with capybaras and he's warming up a barrel so they can bathe in it. It's very cute looking here. It's always nice to see Ace again. It was very nice. I really liked how Oda had tied him in to the Wano arc with him and with who was it? Otama or the other one. I get those two girls' names mixed up. How he knew that girl and also was friends with Yamato when he was visiting there years ago to try to take out Kaido himself. I wonder if he got any. I wonder if Whitebeard had ever given him any stern talking to about going up against another Yonko on his own for doing that. So, anyways, we do we start here today. We start the chapter today with back at G1, the G1 branch, and they're at a scrapyard, and we see some other Marines. I don't know if they're just taking a walk or what out there, and they ask the I'm pretty sure this is the guy that we always see who does the wanted posters in who's always in that briefing room when he with the wanted posters and stuff. Can't think of his name now. And he's he explains to these people this is the train this in the scrapyard here is where Garp and Kuzan used to do their training, or Garp probably presently still does it. Yeah, he does say that. Should get a higher spot to post put this prop this up. So yeah, we see that we first get that idea of how Garp always trained, and we see these two battleships, battleships. You can see parts of others, but these two are mostly intact looking, but you can tell they're quite old. The rust. It looks like there's supposed to be like rust and whatnot on the cannons on the top, and they the part that's of note here with how the Garp and Kuzan train here is the whole of the ships. The two ships are side by side in the same direction, and the bottom of the hole is a front part where the beam is there that would help be the spine of the ship, I guess. Have both been punched in and have this perfect indented curve into there. And yeah, he explains that that guy. Shoot, what's his name? I wish I knew his name, but I'll look it up later. He explains to the other Marines that this is where Shark Garp has always his daily routine would be to go out here and punch this stuff for his uh punch into these ships for his training. Actually, I just realized too when I was watching Garp fight, I used to kind of think, okay, we have Luffy only is a likes to punch his and his opponent. For a long time, there, I was kind of thinking it looked a little simplistic and lame. They all he does is punching people out, his enemies. You know, Doflamingo, going to Kaido, uh, all of them. He did the what Gatling pistol or something like that against Lucci as well. And I just thought of that as being lame for a long time because you had Zoro with his unique sword style, and you have Sanji who uses those neat kicks. But now, looking at it, it is quite cool to see how we get to see that Garp is exactly the same. Although we know it seems he has a really good advanced hockey that he can impart into his power, into his over Luffy. That'd be cool if Luffy can somehow learn to adapt something like that himself later on, probably with his Gear 5. So the I realized over time, like, okay, well, it's not a bad thing that Luffy's a puncher. It's especially when you start adding hockey, it made it seem now he can like it's got a little more variety to it. And then you got it pairs well with him and Sanji being like opposite. Well, one kicks, one punches, and so it just cuts. So I don't know, for a long time I just think, okay, can't Luffy do anything else than just punch? I mean, it's cool he's got the gum fruit, but it still just really makes him punch and stuff in different ways. But I've grown to basically find it more endearing than I thought I would. So anyways, we cut back here now to Hachioso. That's the name of the city, the name of the island. we see that friggin' the San Juan Wolf. The oh yeah, that's the other one I forgot. San Juan, right? So who did I say? I said yeah, Kuzan. Vasco, San Juan, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I did just say 5. Okay, that's still San Juan. Yeah, that San Juan tried to fight Garp, and we cut in where he just was punched out. We don't see the punch. We see him flying headfirst into the water, and he's sunk down because obviously he's a giant, but he ate a fruit that makes him even bigger. I just realized that's funny. He's a giant who just gets bigger, and Jesus Burgess is a tough guy that just gets tougher. It's not bad. That's again, those are things I thought for a while. Oh, that's just simplistic. But then I was thinking too, like, okay, does it? I shouldn't care if it's simplistic. What could be scarier than having a huge guy come along like San Juan? He could just go around to some islands and just stomp it down. If or even have the threat of stomping it down to make other island. What if Blackbeard just can go up to other islands and force them to submit or even give over supplies and whatnot if they just see San Juan walking up because he's can grow the bigger than any giant, like even bigger than Oars, I'm sure than we ever seen, and that it's intimidating in and of itself. So, anyways, San Juan. We know San Juan got knocked out by Garp because we see commentary bubbles from other pirates screaming, "Oh my God, San Juan got knocked out and he's in the water. We gotta get him out because he's gonna suffocate. He's gonna get weakened now, and he's fell into the water below the surface because even though with his even at his size, the part he got flung out to off the coast is deeper than his laying down height. That's just cute. They show a shark like looking over him, like, "Oh God, what happened to you, guy?" Now what happened here? I'm just gonna look up some of these again. So next, Vasco shot steps up, and he's tries to take on Garp too, and he pulls out this attack where oh, it's kind of like he does it that the he pulls out he's got a huge container of alcohol with him, and he um drinks a bunch of it, and then uses it with fire to try to send a fireball at Garp. What's it called? Shogu Ropu. Heavy drinker, Hearthfire. And Garp, Garp is not intimidated by any of these captains, I'm telling you. So what he does here, though, is he grabs some nearby pirates and puts them in front of him as a shield to take the attack. And they get burned up, then they just run away. Let me see, what's going on here? I gotta zoom in on some of this. Also, by the way, too, by this point, Garp has taken off his marine jacket and is wearing this dark, just wearing his dark, button-down dress shirt to take these guys on. And so other pirates here are running away because they're like, God damn, we can't take on Garp. Our numbers are meaning nothing. They're not even scaring him. So they're just a lot of these other pirates looks like they're just fleeing the battleground at the very least to try to avoid this because like San Juan just got knocked out. Vasco's attack isn't working. And but meanwhile, while this is happening too, it looks like what's his name, Pizarro, has possessed is using his fruit power to sit into the island. He's using it in a way where he's possessed the skull part, and he's looking out from there, so he has a vantage point to watch the battle up there, because you can see his eyeballs, uh, popping out of what was originally just the hollow skull bit of the skull there. So the other pirates are like, oh crap, this is getting bad too because now Teach is gonna kill us if he comes back and sees that this is getting thrashed. And meanwhile, while they're saying that, we just see Garp there with a smile on his face, like he's really enjoying this, and it's kind of looking like he's just there standing there in this spot he's been in, kind of the smile kind of like, okay, bring it on. I'm not afraid of any of you guys. So he's really displaying his confidence here. Kind of reminds me of Whitebeard, how he just stood up there and was just enjoying how the when other people were trying to come after him at first at the Marineford arc, like that one giant that he took out easily, and then there was also like a kind whose fireball attack that he just caught with his Bicento. So very similar, where you can't intimidate someone like Whitebeard or Garp because they're just too experienced in this point of their life to like let anyone just force them to back down. So while this is happening too, the Garp ship is starting to is starting to uh, depart with the other citizens they've saved, probably those other slaves and the other Marines that may have been injured in this battle. And who was that? The one, I should get her name. What's her name? That new girl, Suru's granddaughter. I gotta get her name. Let's see, chapter 1080. Hold on a second. I'll pull it up. Shiru. Uh, it's right. Kujaku. Yeah, Kujaku's on the goes over like a loudspeaker on their ship and is informing Garp that they've been able to get the ship back out to sea now. Oh yeah, they never did show too how that thing flew up in the air. I think. So we see the ship leaving the port. It looks like it's pretty far off now. You can see how small the only the skull looks really big there, and it's getting a good distance away. And yeah, Kujaku is telling them uh, they're informing him that they're all right. So like we can get out of here now, so that we've succeeded. But meanwhile, while this is still happening too, we see that Kobe and Hamepo and what's that other guy with the clay fruit? They've stayed behind with Garp too to uh what's his name? Let me get his name. Is that Prince something? Prince Groose. Yeah, Prince Groose, Hamepo, and Kobe are still there with Garp. They're providing backup. Yeah, it looks like they got the ball and chain off of Kobe finally. Which one was that on his leg? He was carrying it. Oh yeah, it was on his left leg. Yeah, you can tell it's off there because they also part of his pants got ripped off right up to the knee where he was holding it, where it was chained up. So they're pulling up behind Garp, uh, and while they're doing that, uh, while they're helping get let me see what's going on here. So I'm getting the panels all mixed up. So to Jacques Tollian. So they all come up to behind him, and then Kuzan pulls up too, comes back out from wherever he just was, probably was standing back while San Juan was trying to fight Garp, and he's like ready to fight him again, fight Garp again because he doesn't want to let Kobe leave. So it looks like here Garp next tells the yeah Garp, while the others line up behind him to help him. Garp tells him that no, you guys should head out to the ship now and get out of here. Let me see here. Okay, shit. So yeah, well, they were trying to start. They started to get ready to go, to leave, but then Kobe Kobe turns around to Kobe turns around because some other people are saying there's still citizens there, and Kobe falls for this, and he's like, because he wants to save everyone, he goes back to try to uh, see if there's anyone still there to help, but Groose sees what's happened, sees that this is a trap, and he tries to stop Kobe from going back. And who is that? Is that Katrina there? Katerina there? So I think it might be Katerina might be the one telling him that, which is in a disguise because we see her laughing. This it looks like a young girl pirate, yeah, screaming, telling him telling Kobe, "Hey, come back and help those other people." And then she does this hee hee like you fell for it, and what happened here is Shiro comes out of nowhere invisible to try and take out Kobe, but Garp jumps in just in time, and he gets stabbed right in the gut. Ugh, looks awful. By the way, too, I was just thinking. Sorry, I gotta write that down. Do we know what Shiru's sword is? I was looking at the Meito grades again. I gotta look at that. Write that down. Shiru's sword. Meito. I was looking at all the Meito grades just the other day because I was watching Zoro's that time when Zoro got his I didn't know, I didn't realize too for a while there. I didn't realize that Zoro's sword was the Wado is a Owazumono sword. For some reason, I thought it was a real Wazumono sword. So the Saijo Wazumonos are the 12. Owazumono, I think I got that right, is the 21. Rios are the 50. Well, I was 49 because Yubashiri is no longer with us. And then there's the regular Wazumonos, which aren't. I think that's what Kitetsu the Third's part of. Now, for some reason, I always thought that Wado was a Rio Wazumono of the 50, but it actually is if I remember correctly, it is one of the actually is one of the Owazumonos. Excuse me. So that's cool because that means at that time Zoro had the once he got those other two swords, once his two unnamed swords were destroyed, and he got the Kutetsu and the Iwashiri, he had one of each greatest sword just below Saijo Wazumono's. So, and at this point, he's got two Owazumonos now because he's got Wado still, and he has Shiru, which is Owazumono, but he's given that back to Wano, and so he's got Enma, and he's still got Kitetsu. So now he's got two Owazumonos and Kitetsu a Wazumono, which I'm kind of surprised that its rank isn't really like improved yet. Kitetsu with all the time he's put into it, I would think by now that that his that sword that how come I can't see that live page? Here we go. There's how I do that. I'm just checking my thing a second. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised Zoro's Kitetsu the Third doesn't constitute it hasn't been like given a rank improvement yet. I think it kind of deserves it at this point. Uh, anyways, I'm wondering if Shiru here has a Owazumono or Saijo Owazumono sword. It looks like it's got a black blade, so it's got to be at least a Owazumono sword at this point. So, anyways, yeah, that thing goes right through Garp, and it keeps Kobe is avoided from getting hit by it all, but he falls away. Also, but Garp does get a good hit in here on Shiru. He looks like he grabs Shiru with his by the shirt with his arm, and then he flings Shiru into the earth there. And Shiru though looks happy with himself for getting that attack in, anyways. But this attack on Garp like this motivates a lot of the starts motivating the other pirates. But this also makes no, I'm sure he was going after Kobe, wasn't he? I think he was. I think he was going after Kobe there. Hard to say, but because Kobe here gets upset, like, no, it's my fault. Why does it have to happen to Garp? And Garp says, no, he was certainly aiming for me and not you. And of course, Hamepo and Groose, everyone else are all upset too, seeing that he's been attacked like this. So also we get something interesting here too. We see what Garp's rank is by the because of the Cross Guild, Mihawk and Crocodile's the group now. The other pirates are getting really excited with the idea of taking Garp down because he's worth 3 crowns, which places his bounty through the Cross Guild at 3 billion berries, which they also say is what the other admirals are ranked at too through this new bounty system. Wait, what was Kobe? Kobe had a 500 million bounty, which was a captain. And what was that? Was that five stars? So they used stars for some of the other ranks. Okay, so what was it? Yeah, Navy captains. He's a captain, and most Navy captains are only 1 star, and he got 5. And then they use crowns. I got 3 crowns for a uh, admiral. So I'm guessing probably 2 crowns would be a vice admiral, which is what Garp's rank actually is, and 1 crown would be, I think it was rear admirals are the rank behind after a vice admiral. Get a sip of water. So Kuzan though tries to deter these other pirates from fighting Garp because he knows how dangerous he is. He even says like you gotta get out of the way. Even if you could bind Garp's legs and arms, he'd still take you all out. And then Kuzan comes after Garp himself now with another ice move. And it will be interesting now to see how Garp can still fight like this, because this reminds me again of what happened with Whitebeard when he got stabbed by that one son of his. I can't think of that dude's name. Spawn was it? No, not Spawn. That's that guy, that douchebag from CP0. Oh shoot, I can't think of his name now. No, I can't think. So when he got attacked by that guy, he that was because he wasn't expecting his son to be a traitor, and then the guy was right there, and because of his illness, his observation hockey wasn't working, where he could have potentially. I think Marco had even said at that time, like Garp, not Garp, Whitebeard should have been able to see that attack coming. In this case, Shiro's using his invisibility. Actually, that's funny. Does that mean a couple of things? Does that mean his invincibility can help go work around somebody who can use good observation hockey? And one other thing, this really brought up. Well, this is something. I'm trying to think if I've heard someone else say this, but I've been worried about this part for a while. That when that Shiro's probably going to have a fight with Mihawk at some point. I'm not sure how this will end up happening at this point now, because Mihawk is now considered a subordinate of another emperor. It's possible that Blackbeard would want to go after Buggy, which means Mihawk would fight with Shiro. But I've been concerned that this is exactly what Shiro will end up doing to Mihawk, and I just don't want it to happen like that. And I'm thinking that somehow the scene will be set up where Zoro is there, and that's what Zoro will be talking to Mihawk, and that's how he'll get distracted and end up getting uh stabbed in the back in this case by Shiro like this. So the fact that this happened, Shiro has outdone this thing. I'm trying to think if I've seen something that made me think of it. The fact that Shiro has done this here plays right into my worst fear about this happening to Mihawk down the line too, as I've thought about for a while. So, anyways, yeah, I can enough of the tangents. So we get a flashback now showing Garp when he was young, getting approached by Kuzan to have Garp personally train him. So at first, what happened here is when Kuzan approached Garp, he didn't want to have anything to do with training Kuzan. He didn't want to be bothered to have a disciple. And he even says like, don't take up my time, or the translation reads, "Don't steal my freedom." Here, go back to the Marine instructors. That's what they're here for, instructors to help you. And Kuzan tells him at that point, like, I already learned from them. They can't teach me anything else. I need to go to the next level. So I want to train under someone like you. I'm trying to think of how many years ago this could have been, because Garp looks quite young. I'm thinking this is before God Valley. Also, by the way, Garp, you can tell Garp. I can see the resemblance now with Garp and Luffy for sure here. He looks just like Luffy, except with a really manly kind of chin, almost exactly, and very buff neck too, but very much like Luffy. This almost would look like what Luffy, if Luffy had a biological older brother. This is what I would imagine him looking like. Uh, After Kuzan says, "I already learned from the other instructors. I want to work with you, train with you." Uh, Garp even yelled at him to go away. I really don't want to train you. Uh, but then eventually we jump to a scene where he is starting to train him, and this is where we see them working together to punch they're punching those Navy ships. Actually, I forgot to tell you that's the name. The name of this chapter has to do with those ships. They call it battleship bag, and they're used as replacements for sandbags, according to that other officer earlier. And so that yeah, this next panel is that Garp is training him, and he's having Kuzan punch the punch the ships, punch the other ship. So there were those two ships side by side, and Garp one is he's punching as the further one away, and you can see here it's already been punched in quite a bit by his daily routine, and Kuzan here is punching the other one, but he's not at this point doing any damage to it. And by the way, too, the other officer who explained to the other Marines about how Garp does this training, when he does this, he doesn't use his hockey when he's punching this. And also, when he has Kuzan doing it, he doesn't want him using his devil fruit powers, or anyone else that would be training with him. He enforces a rule like of that no one else can use devil fruit powers while punching this, so that it won't be training properly if you're using your devil fruit. So if this was Luffy, for example, he wouldn't want Luffy to use his Gamu Gamu pistol where his arm stretches every time. He'd want him to just um, punch it. I can't get my camera. Just straight punching it. And it looks like this is the first time Kuzan's doing it because he's saying "ouch" every time he's doing it. So we're jumping on over these other panels of them punching together, and it's going over some other years because we see him then complaining or talking to Kuzan when he's upset about something, and the two things he comes up most uh is when Dragon first formed a revolutionary army. So what was that again? That was 22 years ago, I think. So he's telling him there that's he's pissed because his dragon decided to do that. Then we see him later when when Luffy must have been a lad and told him I'll be a pirate instead, and he's Garp's grabbing Kuzan and yelling at him like using him like an what do you call it, like an outlet. Like God damn it, can you believe this? He's like grabbing Kuzan. Can you believe this shit? My grandson saying he wants to be a pirate. I won't allow it. And he's grabbing Kuzan, and Kuzan's like, "Why are you yelling at me about this? It's not my problem." And now we see one last panel there too, where uh Garp wants to chill out with some crackers and tea, and this is when Kuzan has been promoted to admiral, and he's like, I can't come sit with you now, Garp. I got more responsibilities now that I got to do because I'm an admiral. Why? And Garp's, whatever. Just get the tea out and let's sit down and relax. Oh, that's one other thing I wanted to bring up here. So recently there was an SBS. I think that's what the one. Let me find that again quickly. There's an SBS about. I think it talks about Kuzan's. Um, it talks about Kuzan's sense of justice in there. I think they call it like blazing justice. Oh god dang this site. Let's see if I got the right one. I think that was this recent one. Come on, why is that in my way? Justice. Yeah, here we go. Come on. I should have found it. So, what I believe the justice was had to do with yeah uh let's see if I have it. Where was that justice? Why can't I get rid of this thing now? Okay, I'm gonna just go off the top of my head. There was something in there I think it had to do with uh, uh Kuzan, how his justice used to be different than it is now. So he used to have an idea of this justice. Well, I think it was called blazing justice. And what I have my own interpretation around this, I wanted to bring up. Hold on, let me check on let me check Tekken's video here. There it is. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So right, it was called blazing justice. I want to go over that quickly. What I think that might mean for Kuzan's time in the Marines and his time with Garp and interacting with the other um, admirals, his colleagues that became admirals, so specifically like Akainu and Kizaru. I think what this blazing justice meant for Kuzan is he probably wanted to like have an efficient and often fast sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Effective conducting of justice as well on pirates and other criminals. And what I mean by fast is that you'd catch these guys and you'd probably if they were you're sure they burned this village over there, you would try them and convict them. They'd be convicted and they'd go to impel down. I think he must have been like I'm thinking about this because his justice now is lazy, so he went like 180. I'm thinking blazing mean he was very always like, let's go get those guys, let's put them away, we got to clean up this riffraff, clean up the world, save people, so that the pirates can't keep getting worse. Because he's been around, he's probably been around since before Roger was alive or near thereabouts, and he would have seen how he's been around during this great pirate age since Roger's death. So what I'm thinking about is he wants to clean this riffraff up, but O'Hara changed him, which we all know. And I think what that means to me is, I think he's changed his justice to lazy because he wants to slow down how fast the Marines judge and convict and conduct justice upon people the way, especially with stuff like Buster calls. I don't think he liked how the Navy just quickly was going out and doing stuff like that. How they went after and hunted down Portuguese aces, looking for Ace's mother and looking for all the potential children from Roger. He's looking at this stuff and seeing this harshness, and probably looking at it in a way where we should be more careful about how we conduct this justice and who we convict, because not everyone, it's not a black and white world basically. And I imagine him working with Akainu especially, and how his absolute kind of, is that what he calls his absolute justice, is what makes him want to be this way too, because his blazing justice is a kind of a sort of parallel to that, where he is always ready to go out there and get people. Well, I'm sure he never wanted to, kill people outright. That not he's not as harsh as Akainu, obviously, but his justice was so uh, similar in how he was this. They were just grabbing people, these pirates who committed crimes or potentially committed crimes so quickly that he probably looked back after O'Hara and thought, some of these people that I've captured and they may have ended up impaled down or executed should not have been like that. Had that fate. And O'Hara was especially a bridge too far. So he switched his justice around so that he was balancing out the convictions of his other admirals, and probably like Sengoku, and being around those high level Marines that wanna that are out there trying to clean up this riffraff, but they may be going around it in a way where he doesn't agree with it anymore. So that is in a nutshell what I suspect his justice is about now. It's about not being more careful with who they convict, who's bad, who's good. We have to change those. For him, he probably wants to change those definitions over how it's been conducted especially in his time in the Marines. So, anyways, so we switch back to the present here, and we have Kuzan and Garp now squaring off. Uh, and what's he saying to him? You praise the quite the troublesome enemy. I think Kuzan starts talking to him about how you raised Kobe. He's probably saying like you. I think he's kind of still upset there again about being. I think is that what happened in the other chapter 1081. He seems like he's kind of upset that he's been Garp is still not like agreeing with his sense of leaving. Something here. There's something rubbing between these two that's very upsetting to Kuzan for sure. So he says you raised a quite the troublesome enemy. What does that mean, enemy? Wait. But and Garver says, "You're you foolish student. You're excommunicated. I don't have to listen to you." I guess he's saying. I'm a little confused by that bit. I'll have to come back to after I hear some other people. So we end that bit there with them clashing with each other, and they both punched each other in the face. And that's quite a cool shot there. Actually, look at that too. The coloring, because they have this opposite color thing going on where Garb's wearing black shirt and his white pants, and Kuzan's wearing black pants with a white shirt. Yeah, and they just punching each other out. And the puncher causes another explosion in front of the skull here, and Pizarro's still looking on through the skull, the eyes of the skull there. And the punch is so powerful between the two that it shows Garp and Kuzan actually fall away from each other. Uh, oh, it looks and yeah, it looks like Garp's got a bit of got a good hit there, taken from Kuzan, and then so Kobe and Groose come up around him to try and help Garp here, and then we see Pizarro. Then Pizarro's up there gloating at them, saying, your hope of escaping is impossible now. You came here and poked us, and now we're gonna just have more pirates are gonna come out like bees, beehive." Yeah, no, he doesn't say it that way. I'm kind of paraphrasing. Uh, and then he comes out and he's possessing the fruit now. He's ready to help engage in the battle, and he's. We switch briefly back to the ship though, and we see the what's her name, the girl who was frozen. So they finally got her treated, and so Pizarro, what he's doing now is he's planning on taking out that ship before it escapes, and he even starts gloating. Yeah, you guys always hear about Blackbeard causing all this trouble and that, but you should be fearing us captains as well. And I'll make sure the newspapers tomorrow hear about that when I exterminate this ship. And he takes control part of the shoreline, and his hand turns it into a giant hand, which he's now bringing out over that ship Garp ship as it's trying to leave. And wait, what are they saying there? And so we end the chapter off here though with Pizarro. You know, he's gloating that about how he's going to take out that the ship, and Kobe's pleading to Pizarro, please don't do that. There's innocent people on there, not just Marines. You can't just take that ship out like that. You heartless bastard, you know. And the chapter ends with Garp saying, "Kobe, don't lose your composure. Justice will prevail." Um, yeah, he's just trying to, and he's just sitting there though. It looks like he's still reeling a bit from the fight, and the chapter ends right there. And I don't think, there's no break. This says next issue will have a color spread. Okay, so that chapter ends there. Well, that was a good one. That was um what I really like about this too is seeing Kuzan and Garp, seeing Garp interact with someone else other than like Sengoku, and how he it's cute. It's funny too seeing how he was over the years still training every day. It looks like Kuzan spent a lot of time training with him there. Um, so it makes me wonder too. Is that I should have brought this up when I brought my little tangent a moment ago about his justice. I'm wondering how much Garp probably really helped affect his judgment of how justice should be conducted too. Because now that I think about it, because he's working for when he was an admiral, under the admirals are basically direct subordinates to the Celestial Dragons. So when Luffy punched out that douchebag, um, Kizaru came there because he could get there really quickly, and so Garp never wanted to be an admiral because he despises the Celestial Dragons. He figured out what they're about at some point, and just refused to to take up the position of admiral. Even though I bet he could have achieved it probably after, at least if not at God Valley, probably definitely by God Valley, the God Valley incident. And so I'm just was thinking now, the Kizaru, not Kizaru, excuse me, Kuzan, Akiji, his idea of lazy justice probably has a lot to do with the fact that he is wanting to be at the top of the Marines like that. He wants that position so he can try to change the world to a degree, but using his lazy justice not motif. The thing he was that form of this, he is using it as a little loophole for himself to avoid doing something he may not want to, but the Celestial Dragons or like Sengoku at the time would have ordered him to do that would go against his morals. Because Garp took the safe road by not safe road. He chose not to be an admiral, so that washed his hands of having to um, getting being insubordinate, and he still technically is. Because Sengoku said he shows openly shows displeasure, and at the what the Celestial Dragon is about, and he is his reputation protects him though from being admonished and probably kicked out of the Marines. But Kuzan decided to join the high rank, which puts him under their thumb. So he used his lazy justice as a way to get around that. So I'm assuming his time with Garp helped form this idea as well, because he would have been with Garp all this time and heard about his displeasure for the Celestial Dragons. So he'd eventually with a lot of stuff he saw as he was rising the ranks, I'm sure, and especially O'Hara, proved to him too how Garp was right, more or less, and if he wanted to stay in the Marines and if he joined the admiral ranks, he'd have to find a way to come to terms with being under their thumb while wanting to uphold and his honor and morals that he believes in. And the lazy justices must have been like how he wanted to do it. But now I'm wondering so now that he left though, I'm thinking, does that mean he to some degree did get disheartened? Hold on a sec. By the events there with Whitebeard, and how this war could have been avoided, maybe like did he would he have if he could have, would he have found a way to like maybe let Ace go or something, or just not have him, not execute him at the very least? And well, seeing all the loss of life over this defending their turf against the Whitebeard pirates, I'm sure that really shook him too. And I bet when he couldn't get the position of fleet admiral because I kind of beat him in a fair fight. He probably just said, "I'm not going to work under you." Sengoku, I could do. Sengoku was not perfect, and I still feel I'm a bit upset with Sengoku with like not finding a way to keep O'Hara incident, finding a way to help more people. That he didn't do something to stop it somehow. No, I'm sure he couldn't, but I was reading that chapter back when the Robin chapter, when she talked about it, and I was just like, I can't believe how. I just feel. I hope Gengoku is reflecting upon that from time to time and what happened there and how he was in charge during that. And so but he's a good leader. He's an alright stand-up guy, and I like Sengoku still. So, but once Akainu came fleet admiral, Kuzan, I'm sure, absolutely didn't want, probably would want nothing to do with working under Akainu because they worked together for years. I think Akainu was the one I think that was in charge with the Buster call on the scene, if I remember correctly. And so yeah, Kuzan probably left for sure after that. I mean, there's also the thing where it seems he's probably undercover, so there's that as well. But even if he didn't go undercover with Whitebeard, I mean the Blackbeard pirates, uh, I have a feeling he would have left the Marines and just gone out and continued his wandering, the way we saw him doing in that flashback in the other chapter. So, anyways, yeah. So who's still here? So he took down Shiru. So Shiru and San Juan are probably down for the count here. Who else? Oh yeah, Vasco shot. They didn't show what else Vasco shot did here when he stopped that fire attack. Let's see, so Vasco shot San Juan. Who else was still there again? I'm just trying to think of else. Little recap, you know. Oh, wait, who was still there? What is this little? Now there's some stupid thing in my way when I'm trying to read this. Get out of here. Dang flies today. There we go. Who's still there? Pizarro, Shiro. Oh yeah, Katarina. Is Katarina still there? So Kuzan and Pizarro, Vasco. I wonder if Kuzan's out now because he took a good punch there from I'm just wondering what the next chapter, because who's still down for the count and still up. We still got Vasco there and Pizarro for sure that are gonna probably prevent Garp and the others from escaping. Kuzan might be still a bit able to fight too. So I'm a little concerned here that because Garp came himself, like Garp's the trump card here of this crew that came. I'm a little concerned that because the number of captains up that Blackbeard has here may make it impossible for them to escape. So I'm wondering if I wonder if Perona is still here too, if she'll help somehow. Her power could probably help disable, uh, uh, help them escape by disabling some of these other captains. By what's her power? Do she makes you feel like you're worthless and you don't want to fight, lose your initiative and stuff. I would hope that she could help against them. So also we don't know for sure if Mori is still here either. I wonder if we'll see him in the next chapter too, if we'll find out anything about him. So yeah. So I think I'll just end this stream here and I'll upload this on YouTube and stuff. And yeah, I'll probably, I'm sure I should do some review chapters because I had some other stuff I was looking at too that I wanted to see. Yeah. So that's all I got for today. Uh, I'm glad we jumped back to this. Although I was really thinking after all this time we were gonna get back to the Straw Hats, but I have a feeling we're gonna have another chapter or maybe two or more that will be finishing up a little more of this. Let me think. What else did we have? We had Sabo. What else did they jump between in the last few chapters? Quickly. They did Sabo. We had the Whitebeard. Oh yeah, we had Cobra and I'm fighting. Oh yeah, I found out about the D. Yeah, I don't. I just. Maybe I'll continue this incident here on Full Lead for a little more first, and then head back to the Straw Hats. Uh, I do really want to see what's going on there. It's almost eating me alive to the waiting to see what's going to happen there on well, who's pulling up? Is that Blackbeard pulling up to there? Would that be Katarina maybe, or Lafitte? Or maybe Lafitte it is going there to the Egghead Island. Of course, Saturn and Kizaru are heading there, so this is going to be quite the blow up, as we all know, and I'm hoping we get back to that soon. But anyways, yeah, that's it for today. Thanks for watching.